Hope 103.1 FM. High on praise and exaltation. We are Hope 103.1 FM.
Money talk, money talk. So the love of money is the root of all evil. Money talk, money talk. It's the money they love. Yo, got them get caught up in the high thing. The wealth and the fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love of money blind them a get caught up in the high thing. Wealth and fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love of money define them. Father God, keep us please from them religious schemes and them pretentious deeds with them infectious seeds. Keep us please from them religious schemes and them pretentious deeds with them infectious seeds. Money they love, money they crave. Love they have for money, make them turn into a slave. Money they want, that is the aim. Love they have for money, go drive them insane. Is money talk for this, money talk for that. If you say you got no money, them get heart attack. They want to know how much you earn, cause they were part of that. Got to learn to discern, you can't take it back. For them get caught up in the high thing. The wealth and the fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love of money blind them a get caught up in the high thing. Wealth and fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love of money define it. Father God, keep us please from them religious schemes and them pretentious deeds with them infectious seeds. Keep us please from them religious schemes and them pretentious deeds with them infectious seeds. Money is essential, but the love for money that detrimental. It's to the leaders, please don't abuse your credential to mistreat people by the things that you mention. Hey, could them get caught up in the high thing, the wealth and the fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, DJ Sabi.
Yes, a blessed good evening to everyone locked in right now to Hope 103.1 FM.
Yes, it's another episode of the Money Talk, episode 27.
27?
Tell you.
Bro, just imagine we reach episode 50.
Yeah, man.
We have a celebration.
Yeah, definitely. 1 year of the Money Talk. So welcome again, everyone of our listeners. We encourage you to share the live. Let persons know that your boy Sabi, DJ Sabi, and Saint B, we're on. And it's another time for us to look at a financial topic. For those just locked on for the first time, Money Talk, it's where we discuss finance from a biblical perspective. All right. So today we will be doing just that. And we will be focusing on young persons, or teenagers, our children. So for those of you that have children and they're home with you this afternoon, call them, let them hear what we're discussing, the topic this afternoon. As it is introducing your children to finances and how they can build a solid financial future and become financially intelligent. So we're going to be looking at some tips, things that we as parents can do to prepare our children for the world outside there when it comes to their finances. All right, Sabi?
Yeah, of course, I like and I love the point that you just made, asking parents this evening to have their kids out with them, listening with them, very important, because we want the children also to have knowledge of the things that are necessary so they can start building their wealth, I would say, from a young age. A knowledge of a thing makes a difference. If you don't know, you cannot do. And if you don't know the right thing, then still you don't know what to do. So you might be doing some things that might be wrong. We are not professionals, but I believe the tips we will give, they are basic and they are things you can basically implement in your kid's life from a very young age.
Yeah,
you know?
true. And we're going to be looking at from toddler stage come right up. All right, so no one will be left out.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think your child needs to be a certain age to start learning about finances.
No.
All right, but before we go into the topic itself, we're going to look at two scriptures that we think is very applicable to what we will be discussing. And the first one is taken from Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." And then secondly, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 5 to 9 says, "And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk to them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates." So we see here we have been instructed to teach our children.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, even as we discussed prior to the start of the program, Savi, a lot of times people think you only train up a child by teaching them about being disciplined,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's don't do this, do that.
But actually, you see, that's the thing. it's actually good to teach them what to do and what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
Also, where money is concerned.
Also, when money is concerned.
From a very young age,
Yeah.
there are some principles you need to instill in your child, and it's all part of training up a child in the way he or she should go.
Yeah.
So when they get older, they will remember these valuable principles that were taught to them as they were young, and now they can apply them in their adult
Yeah,
age.
even at this stage.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So very
Sure.
important when you train them up, not to steal. Obviously, that's a good one, but you get the point.
Yeah, true
Yeah.
that. True that.
So we have to think about it holistically. Money is an important thing in a people.
Very.
You need
very.
it every single day. You use it every day, you know. For we who are mature believers, we know our source is God, of course, and He's the one that blesses us with money to take care of ourselves and our family. But there are persons out there that, you know, treat money like their God. And we're trying to encourage you this evening not to treat money as a God, but to know money is a tool. And we said it before, it is a tool.
Yeah.
So if it's a
It
tool,
is.
you have to know how to use your tool. And if you don't know how to use the tool, and you have to teach your children so that your inheritance, you understand, could be properly taken care of, and it can be passed on to generation and generations and generations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. As per usual, we encourage persons to send in your messages. You can send in WhatsApp messages. The number is 403-1031, or you can do so using the social media platforms. To all the listeners out there on the radio frequency 103.1, a special good afternoon to you.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise, you can feel free to call in on that same number, 403-1031. We encourage persons to participate. Let's make this a fruitful discussion. You might have an experience that you would like to share, or things that you might have done or is currently doing that might just help out other listeners, and even so, myself and Sabi.
Definitely.
You know, as we expand in knowledge on the topic. So let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So money matters, and even more so when we have children. Not only do we want our own household to be financially stable, but it is important to ensure that our children know how to manage money, and that's for themselves. Teaching your child the value of money from a young age will help them become financially stable later on in life. Most parents would agree that finances are important. In fact, over 90% of parents reportedly believe that some type of financial literacy course to be a high school graduation requirement. It should be. While learning about money in school will certainly help teenagers be successful, It is even more important to provide a financial knowledge base in their own homes. And a lot of times we are ignorant to the fact that our children follow based on the leading of the parents. When parents teach their children about money, it truly builds a foundation for financial independence in young adult age and success overall. As a parent, you want to start the money conversation as soon as possible. Fortunately, some parents are already having those money talks with their children. In fact, studies over half, or 56%, have already brought up this conversation. While the task may seem daunting to teach your children how to be financially independent, especially for parents who struggle with finances themselves, there are a wide variety of things you can do to instill financial values into your children, whether you are teaching your toddlers or teens. For some, the thought of teaching toddlers about money may seem insignificant or even futile. However, the younger your child is when they begin to understand the concept of money, the better. Here are some practical ways that you can help your little one begin to understand pennies, dimes, and dollars. Sabi, at what age did you start to talk to your boys about money?
Well, the thing is, listening to you, what came to mind is, first of all, teaching the children maths.
Right.
You get you? You need to, the children need to have the ability to count.
Mm-hmm.
No, 1 and 1 is 2. You understand? And before I answer your question, that's the first thing. So if they don't know maths, I don't think they could teach them about money. If they don't know addition and subtraction, basically even multiplication or division, it becomes hard for them to handle the money.
Right.
So the foundation, I would say, is mathematics. Once that is established, then you can go ahead and start teaching them about money. In terms of the age, young children these days, they start asking questions.
Yeah, the earlier age.
Earlier than age than me and you when we were growing up.
Yeah.
So the kids now, maybe around 3 years, once they can talk and they have a little idea of things, yeah, you can start talking to them about that. Basic time, they know 1 and 1 is 2. You can't bring it up to the big figures as yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to jump the gun because I know we have some interested other things, but around that age there, which is a good age, I believe, to teach them some basic things. They might not understand everything yet, but you can still teach them some basic things at that age,
Yeah. So here are some pointers for your toddlers. All right. Show your toddler what money looks like. Sometimes even this simple step escapes us, our reader, when we are busy making snacks, running baths, or coloring with our little ones. However, most young kids don't see physical dollars and cents on a daily basis. Grabbing a handful of change and pulling some dollar bills out of your wallet for the kids to hold and touch will help acquaint them to their use and value. Get a piggy bank or a clear jar. When you use something that is see-through, they see the money growing. When your preschooler finds spare change around the house, show them how to put it in the slot and save it for when they are a little older and can practice counting it with you.
But isn't it amazing though how kids, how they get the idea of money from such a young age? How children know that money is something that they need in order to get stuff.
Yeah, it has some value.
You understand?
This is something valuable.
Because as soon as you start speaking, they will say to you, "Mommy, Daddy, they buy me this? Can you buy me that?" How they know at that age that you have to buy them something? And then parents oftentimes would respond, some parents, by the way, not all, well, we are getting the money to buy that.
Yeah.
Or some might say, okay, no problem, because it depends on your financial situation. You would respond as a parent differently.
Yeah.
Some parents have it a little more than others who don't. You understand? So it's important to teach them about the piggy bank thing, because apparently young children or and we still at the toddler age, they always want a toy, they always want something that they see on TV. You understand? So it's always about, would you buy this for me or would you buy that for me? So they already know things cost. You understand? And I don't think at that age, listen to me well, that saving is a priority for them.
For them, no.
They want at that age to have things in their hands. They want all the toys in the world. They just want everything. And it is so bad with some of them that if you start wrong when you decide to hold their hand, then you have problems. Because what they will start doing is crying and bawling and telling you, I want this and I want that, and faces and sadness and all sort of things.
Yeah, you get those temper tantrums.
And if you say, only when some parents say, well, I don't have money to buy this. Where I get any money? Because parents knows that some parents at least knows that there are some things that are more important than the toy that the kids asking for. And so they choose certain times to give toys and other times they don't. But if you spoil the child's mindset too early, it can be problematic for you to fix. And that's why training, as the scripture says, train up the child. It starts from that early age gap.
Yeah.
You understand?
It does.
You start from since the child could say 1 and 1 is 2. And the point you could come 1 and 1 is 2, I find it's supposed to know about money.
You know, even as we're talking about that, Sabi, my daughter, she has a piggy bank.
Right.
You know, and in her mind, in the piggy bank, there's $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, it's because it has so much coins in it.
Right.
To her, the value of that is $1 million.
A mil.
So sometimes we would go out and, you know, based on what she wants, I say, well, Daddy didn't walk with all this amount of money.
Yeah.
And she would respond by saying, Daddy, I have $1 million home. And I was just telling her, speak it, baby, speak it. Yeah.
And the next thing, when you think about piggy banks and so on, how the children tend to respond, some of them, they tend to say to themselves, all right, you know what, I'm saving in this piggy bank for a particular reason. So I want, when Christmas comes, there's this special toy that I need, and I want to know, spend that money. You understand? The kids want to spend that money at some interval. When my birthday comes, it's time to spend that money. And most times, if they are not well trained, and we're not saying it's a bad thing, but they might say spend all if they get a chance. So no, at the point where the kids say spend all, you as a parent know. You see, piggy bank teaches you how to teach your children how to manage. For there is a time for everything under the sun. It's not every day you want to be saving. There are times when you have to spend, man. So you save, but at the same time, you don't go spend it all that you want on one particular item. So now you have to put the child sit down and say, listen, this thing you cannot spend all your money on this. This is not making much sense. What if you have something else tomorrow that you want? And you're not even going to say, in case of an emergency or them kind of things, you're going to speak to them in such a way that they can understand. So what if there is this thing or that toy that you want in the next 4 days or the next 4 years? You understand? If you break it now, then that means you have to take a longer time to actually get that money. So the piggy bank is also an opportunity to teach the children, you understand what I'm saying, how to manage. Not just the money that they get because they already have it. So the money that is saved. Right? And then it's also an opportunity to teach them how to invest, but you'll get to that eventually. Let's go.
Yeah. Right. Give them a money playset or toy cash register. Preschool is the developmental stage in which children begin to engage in fantasy play or pretending. Help them play storekeeper or go pretend shopping.
Yeah.
And then show them that things cost money, whether this is in pretend play at home or out and about. The physical act of handing over money and receiving an item in return teaches them so much. In fact, Help your little one grab some change or a few dollars out of their jar or piggy bank. Bring their stash with them to the store and physically hand the money to the cashier in order for them to buy something. This simple action will have more impact than any verbal lesson you could teach them.
And that's so true. It's important to, sometimes you go to the supermarket, give the kids the money to buy. Let them pay for the goods. Let them feel it. Let them understand that principle that things cost money and not mommy and daddy are the only one who has to spend that money. You'll be doing yourself a favor. You understand? So let's take in that tip real quick there from our precious lady. She says, along with savings, let them buy shares. A piggy bank that lives somewhere else.
Interesting.
I like that tip. You know, but one thing was crossing my mind as we were speaking, if I could remember it right, in terms of the games and so on. And I found Monopoly to be an excellent game for young children. Now, my son Jed, he loves Monopoly. But me, I don't like Monopoly, brother.
Yeah.
No, listen, why I don't like it, it's too long.
Okay.
But he would sit and play this thing and play and just play. You understand? Now, what I like about it is that the notes are identified to real life notes. And the ideas
so
there, identified to real life investment someone can make and experience the whole feeling of the loss and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen the boy attitude at 6, he's at 8 years. I've seen the boy's attitude, how when he was losing in the game, how he responded. And that tells me a lot about him. So, who liked to lose? Nobody. And he didn't want to lose. When he lost, he was like, wow, things ain't going my way. And it shows you how people act in general. You understand? So, there's some games, and there are many other games. There's a bookstore, I'm not giving any location, but somewhere in town, where there are many financial Christian games that you can buy. You understand? Nice. Yeah, we ain't getting free adverts. So. But yes, there's this bookstore, you can go and check it out. Find it. It's one of them in town. Just look for it. It's a Christian bookstore. But not Christian bookstore, but there is one in particular. You understand? That they have nice games there and the family can play. You understand? And there are lessons you can teach your children and they can learn by playing those games. But Monopoly is a good game for that. You understand?
Yeah. So those are good things.
Yeah.
When children reach school age, they begin to comprehend more of the true value of money. For example, they can recognize the difference between something that costs $1 and another item that costs $100.
True.
And they can also tell you that 10 dimes make $1.
Yeah.
This is the perfect time to teach them about responsible spending, as well as the trade-off they are making when exchanging cash for items. Here are some ways to help your kids learn about finances as they continue to grow. Teach them about the importance of contentment and model it.
That's a deep lesson. Yeah. Take that again.
That is something that we discussed, contentment.
Yes, contentment, yeah.
Teach them about the importance of contentment and model it. So not just teach them, but you need to be the example.
Yes.
Showing your children how to be grateful for what you have will not only teach them a valuable life lesson, but it will help them learn the true value of material things, wants versus needs, and how to better spend their money. Along those same lines, show your children how to give. This is very important if you want to raise well-rounded individuals later on in life. To help you get started, it's a good idea to have your child pick a specific charity, organization, or church that they want to personally help. This lesson will help your child see how giving doesn't just benefit the ones in need, but also themselves as well. Teaching your child the meaning of charity from a young age is also an extremely valuable lesson as well. Volunteering is also a great way to help your child appreciate what they have while also realizing that they are capable of making a difference. Give an allowance and stick to it. Some parents prefer to call it commission or even a payday, because children should receive money for doing work, not simply for being alive. Teaching your children the value of work and that time equals money will help them take the first step in managing their own finances. Avoid impulse buys. Discourage your child from buying unnecessary things right away and model this behavior yourself. Children are always watching and they will pick up on your spending habits, for better or for worse. And then show opportunity costs. For example, and you mentioned about that, have conversations like, if you buy that video game, you won't have enough to buy tickets to go out with your friends. So teach them to prioritize their wants and decide which is worth their time and money.
Mm-hmm. So you see there, as parents, you can't be always saying yes.
Yeah.
And some parents just love to say yes to their children for everything.
True.
You know, and kids sometimes they could really put up a front and a show to get you to switch. Like, I laugh because
they know how to do
children, listen man, some children, they are so smart. You as a parent, they will just read you out. They know your sweet spot. They know just what to say.
Yeah.
And they will get you to bend your hand without you even realizing. You understand? So we're not saying be this kind of rockstone parent where you don't, you know.
Yeah, don't want to spend no money.
But the point is, we also have to teach our kids to be responsible spenders.
Yeah.
You understand? And we have to discourage the actions or the act that will lead and cause them to become. You understand? So if they have friends, for example, God, that have things, we talk about contentment. Most time that thing really stems from, well, my cousin have it, my friend have it, you know, my neighbor have it. So, well, you can't buy it for me.
Yeah.
And they would come to try to put you on this kind of guilt trip. You know what I mean? To make you feel as an adult, rather, as a mother or the father, that you're not taking care of them because everybody else have it and I don't have it. So you feel guilty and you just go and get it because.
Yeah, and you find a lot of parents now stretching their hands to do these things.
Yeah.
And putting the family in even worse off financial position.
Yeah.
You know? But we have a comment here, Sabi.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's from Lady Sabi. Yes, I agree. Open a junior savers account for your child, so at specific intervals they can take some money from the piggy bank and put it in a bank or credit union. 10 or 30 years down the line, they will benefit from it. True that.
Mm-hmm.
True that.
Because, you know, the thing about money is that you have it now, and a little bit can mean a lot if you put it in the right place.
In the right place, sure.
So there are investment opportunities. Even young children can benefit from them. You know, to mention a few, there are some special. Well, we in Grenada, so we kind of focus on what we have here. But the credit unions and so on normally have plans for, you know, we call them a junior savers plan. They pay X amount of interest, so it enables the child's money to grow when they would need it later on in terms of going to college. There are insurance programs and plans you could also consider to get for your kids. The difference with the insurance program, unlike the junior savers, is that the junior savers you need a contributor all the time.
Okay.
So you have to be the contributor in all your years. Now, some of the insurance program, if you get one early enough for your child, and they are for a particular amount of time, what happens is that you contribute. But if you as a payer is no longer, that's what the word is, insurance. The word insurance is there for. So it's different to just the savings. So if you as the payer should die and you as the parent should die, then there are some benefits that can still have the child receive what you intended for them to get in your absence, as if you were there. You understand? So that's some of the other things as parents, and you have to let your kids know that too, because you just may not know what will happen. So you want to have something there by the time they reach age 18, and it's not that money they can just touch just like that. That's the next thing. You understand? So even you as a parent have to also be disciplined enough to know how to handle. But guess what? It's hard sometimes if you know how to handle your thing. The reality in this situation is that parents also need to check themselves, see how they handling their own finance. You understand? And then they'll be able to teach their children adequately. Some of us actually need to get some financial education so we could better manage, as God said earlier on, so that we could then become better teachers and not just doing things from mere speculation or whatever you think is right that is still turning out to be wrong, but yet still you keep trying to get it right and doing the same nonsense all the time. You understand? So
and not to stray, Sabi, but I encountered a young person, a young adult, early 20s, and Sabi, they were not able to negotiate a check. They didn't know what they had to do to negotiate a check, right? And I was like, but this is almost basic.
Yeah,
it's like you have cash in your hand. You know, I mean, you don't know how to negotiate a check. You know, but it just highlights that we may think that financial literacy for young persons they learn it in school, but they don't.
Because what are some of the subjects that are taught in school regarding finances? Let's just segue a little bit there.
The closest you might get is principles of accounts.
POB.
Yeah.
Right.
Principles
POA.
of business. Yeah.
POA and POB. But those subjects, do they actually teach you about how to manage your money and so on?
That's the thing.
No, I've never done none of those subjects in school.
No, it doesn't. It teaches you different principles.
Right.
But it doesn't translate down to you and your personal finances.
Right.
Right.
So you see, there are many books out there, and I was doing a little research on that, Garten, and found quite a number of books. I can't remember the name, but I was just checking out to see books that they have there. And there are books that has been designed for different age. So I was doing like book reviews, and I saw like numerous books for different age. So the authors had different objective in mind. So they were saying like, okay, you have young children, they have books you can actually buy and give to that kid so they could read it. It is at their level, so now they can understand. You understand? And then there are other books that as they probably, because there's a book I remember saying, What I Wish I Knew. That was one of them that I saw. I can't remember who was the author, but is What I Wish I Knew. The author was saying, what I wish I knew when I was younger. So now it's like, I'm at that age or I'm in college, you know. Like, for example, one of the things in terms of the tips that I saw there, the guy was saying, no, we go to school and then we get this big student loan. So we transition from young adult age into debt. Yeah. So we start working and we already have debt. So
start off,
you understand? So what he was saying was, if you backtrack a bit to when you were younger, then you could have been, you know, parents knowing, and even if the child know too. Because remember, as you grow older, and we'll get into that in a little bit, I don't know about you, but when I was in my teenage age, I was already working. I would sell my job, bro. I'd be selling my yam, selling my, you understand, my fruits, you understand what I'm saying, and making money. So if you save that money and you find ways to invest it, it's not the amount, but it's the principle that you're actually instilling in your child as a parent. And if you don't have that background, it's hard for you. You understand? So the point I was making is that there are books that you can find for, regardless of the age of your child. Come on, the world is a grand scheme. The internet is
Any
there.
Age.
You could find something that you could actually give your children to read, and or you could read for them. You know, make it a favorite story. That eventually, somehow, that favorite story will stick with them. You understand? And later on, you can actually work out to their advantage. You know.
True that. Again, listeners, we encourage you to send in your comments. You can do so via the social media platforms that we're streaming on. You can also do so on our WhatsApp number, 403-1031. And for those of you that might be home and you don't have the WhatsApp platform, you can also give us a call on that said number, 403-1031. And this afternoon, we are discussing finance. And we're targeting the young persons, and we're just going through some tips for us as adults as to how we can train up our children, to appreciate and be better prepared to be financially successful. All right, so let's continue. While all of the money lessons before high school were laying the foundation, this time frame is when the real learning begins. We cannot emphasize enough how important it is to truly invest in your teenagers' financial literacy. Not only will this help them make wise choices in school, but it will hopefully lead to their financial independence in young adulthood. Primarily, you want to know that you can trust your child to make wise decisions when the time comes in which you aren't there to help them along the way.
Right.
It's no surprise that time will come much sooner than later. Here are some ways to help your high school child learn about cash and finances before they are out in the world on their own. And this is happening so quickly. My daughter is taking 7 this year already, Sabi.
You see that? Oh, just 29.
Yes. All right, so point number 1, re-emphasize contentment, especially as your child moves into a world of comparison.
Yeah.
We said it before, and we say it again. Contentment truly is the key to abundant and joyful living.
And if to say what the scripture says, it says, "But godliness with contentment, it is great gain."
Yeah.
So contentment is something parents, if you should just touch on it a little bit, God, before you continue, parents should pay attention to, because children naturally don't, like, I don't know, some of them, they born spoiled. And sometimes too could be the parent doing a good job, but that one grandma or that grandfather or that auntie or uncle or whoever it is that gave that child everything they asked for. You understand?
Yeah.
So they are actually, you trying to teach your children something, but they sometimes just a friend also, based on the age, just everything they ask for.
Everything.
God, do you have a favorite auntie that way you could call for anything?
No, I didn't.
Why, I don't have that too. I can't say I wish I had that, but
I ain't have that.
I ain't have. But I know somebody who who have favorite aunties like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I ain't saying this spoiling.
Don't call him. All right. Children these days are constantly faced with the pressure to measure up, to have the latest and greatest thing, and social media has only made matters worse. As your high school opens a high school child opens a Facebook page or account on Instagram, they will see photos and videos of other persons highlighting their daily lives, not only from family and friends, but from complete strangers as well. It can be tempting to want to only wear name brand clothes and not be satisfied if they do not receive a brand new car on their 16th birthday, like all of the celebrities. Remind your teenager that contentment begins in their heart, and that comparison truly is the thief of joy. They may not seem like they hear you, but they certainly are listening, and this lesson is particular. This lesson in particular will last a lifetime. Include them in conversations about household finances. Teenagers need to see how you make financial decisions. Unfortunately, most teenagers hear their parents arguing about finances more than they actually see how these issues are worked out. Talk about money at the dinner table, in the car, while you are out shopping, or wherever you can find an opportunity. Overall, make it a point to discuss the household finances as a normal part of daily living. The majority of adults say that they wish they had learned more about managing money when they were teenagers. This is your opportunity to break that cycle and start talking with your teen.
So you see, it starts with with us, the parents.
Yeah.
It does start with us, and we cannot avoid that. As we've talked about earlier, and God, just like sex is a taboo topic.
Yeah,
like
boy.
people say sex is like, you said that?
Mm-hmm.
Some
It's
parents
not something you discuss.
Some parents treat money just the same way. You understand? They don't talk about it.
They don't.
And when rough time is upon them, sometimes what they tend to do is, go to a friend and borrow, just so that the kids could have. They would go and, well, is it borrow or lend?
Lend?
They go lending.
Ask.
No, they go borrowing. Yeah, you understand. So the point is, some parents they act like they never had a hard time, and they don't show their kids that side of the life. You understand what I'm saying? So kids grow up in such a way thinking that we always have when we need. We don't know where mommy get it. You understand?
All we know
My son's and it's like, Daddy, so I want this. I'm like, okay, can I have this please? I said, so where I get the money? In the bank. Yeah, in the bank.
Yeah, money in the bank.
So how the money reach in the bank? And when children start confronting you and asking you for stuff, it's also a good opportunity to create conversation with them. So you don't just say, okay, I don't have, and that's it. You could say, I don't have. They say, but Daddy, there's some of them children so smart. They watching your app on your phone. They say, that way you're banking the money. You know what I mean? So the point is, you have to be, in conversation with your kids.
You have to.
Regarding the money. As God said at the dinner table, I think some of the most idle time is when they start confronting you for things. And some of the things they're asking you for, and when you give them the response, because not every time you're going to say yes. So when you give them the response, and based on have a conversation with them. So sometimes you have to willingly, even if you could get it, still have a talk to feel them out. I asked my sons a question last week, both of them, right? And one is 8 and the other is 5 now. So I asked them one morning, I got up, I think it was last week Thursday. I said, Zion, if I give you $500, no, that's the 5-year-old one. Zion, if I give you $500, what would you do with it? Right? I just wanted to hear what they would have said, right? So Zion was like, well, I will buy a house and I will buy a car. So I'm like, okay. I just wanted to see what the first thing will come from their mouth. Right. You understand? Because I need to understand what's going on inside my kid's heart in terms of how they view monies and how they see things. So Jed was asleep, so then he wake up, so I ask him, Jed, if I give you $500, what will you do with it? And them boys just plan to spend the money. So I'm like, that's all they're thinking. So then now that gave us an opportunity to have a conversation. So both my wife and I started having this conversation with them as to what you can do with the money. So, because you see, kids, that's the thing, they don't know. They have an idea, but they don't really know. So how do you as a parent find innovative way to engage your children about money and see what's in their heart naturally?
Yeah.
The Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And it doesn't go for us as adults alone. It's just like if I ask God, if I give you 1 million now, what are you going to do with it? There's some natural response that will come from you, and they will be truthful. You understand? You might tell my boy, I'll go and buy it. If you ask me the question, I'll have an answer just the same.
Yeah, man.
And my answer will be a real answer. So what do you think? You asking your kids this question, that the answer that they give is not a real answer? It is a real answer.
It is.
It all boils down to you finding innovative ways to create that conversation with your children.
Yeah, true.
Because it's absolutely necessary. And teach them these principles that we are talking about, especially. I like the one you said, you said something a while ago, God, in terms of the in terms of the heart and the money and the heart. What is it, boy? Something you said a while ago. If I can get it back. You make a good point there when we were talking about contentment.
Right.
Yeah. Something about teach him something about the heart and something. I just can't remember it, but I've noted at that time. Yeah, so if you're looking for it still, Lady Sabi say teach them also about giving. Yeah. But and that's the next thing. You have to learn to, amazingly growing up, God, I don't know about you, but when I grew up, and when I was growing up and I was going to the Catholic Church, You know, my parents and them always, my grandmother, if it's $1 or whatever it is to put into the offering basket. No, I feel like I want to make it a habit to give my boys and them, and I thought about that lately. Don't give them no coin to put in the offering basket. Sometimes you have to give them $100 to give. You understand what I'm saying?
The principle you're teaching them.
So you have to show them that, because you see, if your parents always giving you 25 cents and 50 cents to put in the offering basket, you're teaching your children to be stingy.
You're not giving your best.
You're teaching your kids to give them something, so when they look at it, say, "What, Daddy? You sure is all of that?"
Yeah.
Partner man, you think you could outgive God? Teach them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's
you give
true.
them small money and they could count. That's small thing for them. They're giving that easy.
Yeah, $1.
Give them something. You understand? And God I dare you to do that. And, you know, at $250, $1,000, say, look, when they're going to church this morning, count it, and let it count it in front of you, and say, all right, this is what you're giving to God today. This is your offering. You know?
But that's a very powerful point there.
Exactly. You know, so you have to do that.
A very powerful point.
I give them boys that $5 each last time, and I look at their face to see if they would have said anything, and they said nothing. They just give it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But I got the point you were referring to. It says, remind your teenager that contentment begins in their heart, and that comparison truly is the thief of joy.
all right,
Yeah.
right. So it's the thief of joy. So don't teach them not to compare themselves,
Yeah.
and to comparing themselves is a dangerous thing. They're gonna
Yeah,
go
it
out of
is.
the way and spend money and take loans, in the future to get things that their friends have, not necessarily that they want it or could afford it. Or sometimes they could afford it, but they don't really need it.
Yeah.
Wrong reason, jealousy, and all kind of thing rises up in their
And
heart,
they-
and they
they-
have
they-
problem there.
And they would think that this would bring them joy, but no. Yeah.
Very true.
All right. Introduce them to budgeting. Help your child create a simple budget for themselves. If they have a smartphone, they can even use a mobile app.
Yeah, I was looking for one of them the other day,
Yeah, you have a couple
but
of
he
them.
was saying that it cannot be downloaded in my country. They say the app is not available in your country.
Yeah,
But there
no
are
problem.
mobile apps that could
Yeah.
use. And the thing about budgeting, as you was reading it that came to mind is the word discipline. Because a budget teaches you how to be disciplined and how to properly organize your finances so you can get the best out of it, in my own words. Really simple. You know, it's so easy to go off track with your budget, I don't know if you know what I
Very
mean.
true.
You know,
Very
there are so
true.
much things that you didn't plan that might just show up. But
Yeah.
the word miscellaneous, you have to become like, boy, you watch me. Things are so expensive in this country and in the world in general currently. You have to be so purposeful and make your mind up to, it's hard for you as a parent, much less to teach your children.
Yeah.
But
It
if you
is.
practice it and you create that habit of doing things a particular way, it becomes easier because you know what it's like sometimes to bite the bullet. Stay with what is not important. Leave what you don't need aside, and you focus on your needs.
Yeah, just on your needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You would like this next point. Help your teenager figure out how to make money. Whether this is offering some extra chores around the house,
yeah.
helping them apply for part-time jobs, signing them up for a babysitting course,
Courses, yeah.
asking the neighbors to mow the lawn, or encouraging their entrepreneurial spirit. A little bit of encouragement can go a long way.
So tell me what you did, God, as you were growing up. What teenage job? What job you had? Tell me now.
The first job I remember having was my uncle hooked me up with this job during my breaks, the different holidays. Yeah, and
What age you was?
probably about 13, somewhere down there. Yeah, 13, probably 14 latest. And every holiday I know I have this job, boy, and I used to be so excited, because after that, but mind you, the money wasn't to spend,
Yeah.
because when I get a job, help my parents buy books, you understand?
Right.
You take care of different expenses, but at the same time I put aside some. I say, well, I work, so I had to, at least buy a little something.
You have kids these days. They are, I would say, young adults or teenagers these days, and they are probably even age 15, and they have never, ever bought a book for themselves
Yeah. No.
or a piece of clothes. You understand what I'm saying? For me, bro, since I was like, boy, young, my My parents used to bring me my mom, my grandma. No, when I was young, I grew up in St. John's, and they brought me in the market, boy, to sell. You understand? I did all in the market from 4 o'clock. I have to get up, go to catch that this truck man named Fane coming down, and we have to go down to the market. So we go to the market. No, grandma, I know when things get slow. From since then, she had me, selling and things. So I learned about money since them age. Okay. You understand? And then on the day at a certain time, if things get a bit slow, they would put these oranges and mango in a bucket in plastic bags, $5 a parcel. And that's what I love to see. Sometimes when I see young kids around town selling. You understand what I'm saying? And if I had to support them, I'm supporting them because I remember what that did for me. Right. Sometimes I don't even want the thing. And I don't think it's important. For me, I don't like the idea of not taking anything and giving them the money.
Okay.
Even if you don't want it and you want to support them, take the item still. Don't give them the money without taking the item. You understand?
It's a principle.
So I learned that from that age, and as I became a little older in my early teenage age, I used to do stuff like I used to work in a garage.
Okay.
So I learned these little bits, and then I work in a welding shop where we did like wrought iron and so on. So I'm making my money, then I work in a joiner shop. Because sometimes in the communities they have little things there. So you just say, come on. The thing is, them men to abuse you, because you're working your hard and you're getting a little chicken money. You understand what I'm saying? And then,
but
eventually.
For the help.
Yeah, every day I go Real Value. I remember I gone to Real Value. I got a job there, and after school, I would go to Real Value. From go up, I would come down and go and work. And the weekend, I work in. You understand? And then I used to look for where they had tips. So I actually was hired to do some work in the back, but I found myself in the front, way your bargain and bringing all this stuff, and I create some customers of my own. So when they see me, you understand, and the tip big. Sometimes when I get tips, is more than my salary, boy. You understand what I'm saying? So I kind of grew up that way, basically knowing what it's like to be in touch with money, because my parents also used to send me and sell stuff in the community. Like they would bake stuff for mom. My dad used to make a wicked corn soup. So he would make that and send me and sell. Or we have an activity in the community. So boy, but since I young growing up, I did in this money thing. I tell you, and that's what the people taught me. Sell, always sell. Go fishing, you come back.
You always have something to sell.
The one time, just to drop that real quick there. The one time when children may have that time their hand get sticky now. So the one time, boy, when dad sent me and sell some fish, boy. So boy, he come back with the fish. The man, there's a man he was selling. He was fishing a boat for. So he was not the owner of the boat. So he sent me to drop the fish at the man. So I'm way up, boy. A man say, yo, you selling that fish? I was like, what? How much you pong? I said, $5. How much you had here? I got 3 pongs. I got $15. And them days now, that's back in 1990 something. That money, that $15 is a lot of money, but I can't come back and tell my dad no that I sell the fish. So I show my cousin the money now, and I tell her, I sell the fish. Boy, I want to go and tie out my goat. Because they're growing up in the rural community, how things are. And when I come back, my father asked me, why do the fish? So I was like, what? How you know about that? I'm a cousin, boy. I hide the money under a stone, boy. Oh, joy. I get Alex, all of that was part of it from that day, boy. I never touched nobody money again. Watch up on that man thieving or even stealing. That was beaten out of me from that age. And these are serious principles. They say, what? Spare the rod and spoil the child. If you have a child and the hand sticky, you as a parent have a responsibility to know, teach your child. Teach your child. True. You understand? Anyway, let me check this last piece here. If somebody sent in a message on WhatsApp first. The question: do you think that heredity have a part to play on a child's ability to budget money? Do you think so, God?
I would say no.
I would say no too. Yeah. I'll be in trouble if I can't soup. I would say no. No, let me hear your reason for saying no.
So I would say no. I believe it's something that is learned.
Right. We're on the same part there.
Yeah, it is something that is learned. It's a discipline that is learned. Right? And if it is that you as a parent is teaching the child how to budget, and you're not using a budget for yourself, the child is not seeing you using a budget, I believe it will be harder for the child to take in this concept, versus him seeing that his parent or parents, they use this tool that they are teaching me about, which is to budget when the month comes, or to budget for monies and how to use it.
Right.
So I strongly believe it's something that you learn, right? Something that is taught to your children.
I think if I should envision a home setting, there are certain things that are just taught naturally. So there are times when you may need to pull that child aside and do it, but we know kids, they tend to emanate what they see.
Yeah.
You understand? And yes, God, maybe hereditary can be if a child see these bad habits on that side, or just the same, the good side. But then again, sometimes you refuse to teach them, and they come up with their own idea or the ideology of what the thing is and how it works. And it might be far from what you actually do. Like the analogy I made earlier on, the kid is always seeing you have never heard you complain that you don't have, or you have your experience and lack. And that's because sometimes you as a parent is going all out, you're borrowing so that the kid could have. Now the thing is, when I was growing up, bro, there are times in my life that I have experienced as a teenager, I would say, and a young adult. My parents didn't have. And they would send me to my auntie, and they would send me to my auntie, you get the picture, to borrow, or to borrow $5 so I can go to school, $20, and they would then give me the money to bring back to them just the same.
Okay.
You know, I also experienced as a teenager a time of lack financially, where, you know, what happened to me, and I guess because of my upbringing again, just to talk about me a little bit, my parents had a point when I knew they couldn't afford to give me anything, because we experienced a disaster. We lost all we had. Even though they have, whatever they had was not enough. So I ventured at that age as a young teenager to figure out things on my own. You understand? Now I am vexed that I did that, because it had taught me quite a bit of lesson, and in terms of being responsible from a very young age. You understand what I'm saying? But if I was not taught certain things in not the most formal way, because you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's a formal way. My bringing was a part of living. So as a young age, I had a responsibility to also make sure we had home.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So there are ways it could be done, but there are some bad things that could be inherited and good things that could be inherited just the same. There are some financial curses that could be, you know, inherited.
True.
And there are some financial blessings that could be inherited. So prayer and a relationship with God is of utmost importance. Taking that one here?
Yeah. I remember my dad teaching me the importance of tithing and giving. I was about 12 or 13 years old. I never forgot that lesson. Yeah.
So guys, feel free to, you know, send us your messages. We thank all those who are sending a message thus far, and concerns and so on. Just feel free to connect with us. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
You know, a very important topic we're discussing here. We are halfway through. These days the money talk is going on a little longer, but that's all good, man. Things getting sweet on the inside.
All right, Sabi.
Mm-hmm.
Next, take them to open a bank account. This adds another layer to money management and will hopefully prepare them for managing a larger account when they get older.
So, just quickly, when you had your first account, how you felt?
Boy, I was super excited. And
No, you never bank account there?
boy,
What you wanted to do mostly?
well, the thing is, the first time I had an account was when I was able to open an account for myself.
Right.
You understand? And it was coming off of one of the summer jobs.
Okay.
All right. But it was exciting. All I wanted to do was to see money inside it.
Yeah, boy. And every time you save something, it's like, boy, you don't want to spend it, but you just want to save that money. That was the way I felt growing up when I opened my first account in the credit union. But the first account that I ever had was in school in the Savings Union
Yeah, the
program.
Savings Union.
And I just love to see where my thing growing by.
Yeah.
You understand? My first investment was, I think, selling nuts.
Okay.
Really like that's the first time I understood the concept of selling nuts. And then I sold water. So that's where I learned in this practical way. Okay, so I bought a first pound of nut for $4. Patch out, get some plastic bag. You understand? Sell that, make some money. And say, okay, no, I can buy 2 pounds of nut. I have about $2 remaining from that. Sell that. I grow my clientele at the same time. Increase that again. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, and then there was this time when I noticed, boy, I'm like, okay, how do I make some money? You see, you can't blame me. I never thought about going on thief because that was beaten out of me.
Right.
I never thought about I never thought about begging because they taught me how to work for my own thing.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So everybody been taught something different, right? But God maybe was taught to save a lot.
Yeah, boy.
Why is that though?
Well, it comes back to the home.
Can your parents just take care of you a lot, man?
But for them it was make sure you have the money in their account.
In their account.
Right? You see, unlike your parents, my parents were not that those business type persons.
Yeah. Did they tell you to ask permission before you go and take out money from their account to spend it?
Not ask, but it's like I need to, before I go there, I need to decide. It's like, where are you spending our money on?
So you had to tell them?
Well, no, I didn't tell them. But
Oh, okay. But did they make you feel like you had to tell them?
I felt like they
had to tell them.
monitor.
Yeah,
It's
and
like one
nothing
day
in
they
wrong
asked
with
me-
that. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
It's all about accountability now.
It's like
Because
one
when
day
you
they
and your
asked
mommy
me-
or your daddy or they have that good relationship,
Mhm.
and when parents do them kind of things, what happens is that you become your child's accountability
Yeah.
partner in that spending situation. So the child don't just wildly.
Yeah.
They will still say, boy, I always say to my son, think.
Mhm.
Because they would think. They might even come and say, Dad, listen, I want to buy this thing. You find that makes sense?
Mhm.
And then they can have a conversation. You understand? And that same thing trickles down into the relationship in the long run. Not you're married and all financial decision in the relationship stems on one person.
Yeah.
You understand? It goes far and wide. It's not just no.
Yeah,
Always
that's the
think
thing.
about the future. Let's continue, bro.
True.
Mhm.
Teach them about credit cards. Surprisingly, many college students don't know the difference between credit and debit card uses. And that comes back to the same thing I told you about the check. Unfortunately, credit card companies target vulnerable young adults from the second they turn 18 years old.
Yeah, boy.
A very important aspect of this conversation should be about credit scores also.
You want to explain the credit scores?
But in Grenada,
They
we don't
don't
have
really
a
have it in
credit
Grenada.
score,
Yeah.
right? Because we don't have what you call a credit bureau. But a credit history is very
it's similar,
important.
and it's similar.
It's similar, and that's more or less what we use. So it comes back to, say for example, you have a credit card. You take out a credit card, you just start to work, you go in the bank, they give you a little limit of $5,000. You spend the money, but you ain't paying it back when you're supposed to.
And in my experience with the credit card thing is that the bank loves when you pay your credit card, boy, even before the time.
Yeah.
When they see that happening, you know what they just do, God? Yeah?
When they
Then they notice you're paying your credit card on time and you're
they
beating it up.
bringing up the limit.
They're
man.
increasing the limit for you.
Yeah.
So indirectly probably have that. Maybe that's the same system they're probably using in their own ways. To keep giving you more. Apparently,
they're bringing up the limit.
They bring up the limit.
Yeah.
I have experienced my credit card limit increase significantly over the years.
Once
You
you're paying it on
understand?
time.
Yeah, and
Once you're
I
paying it
said,
on
Lord,
time.
look at this. Them people trying to trick me here.
Mhm.
But it's very important that kids knows that too. You
Yeah.
understand? Some people leave off a credit card unlike leaving off a debit card.
For the debit card.
And there's a good way to actually use the credit card to your advantage.
True.
Anyway, let's continue, boy.
All right. Approximately 25% of millennials still don't know what a credit score is. All right. Well, credit history in our case. And results of surveys show that most millennials are still confused with these monetary topics. All right. So start talking and encourage your children to ask questions now before credit cards are even an option.
Mm-hmm.
Use real life circumstances as lessons for your children. Real life situations are a great opportunity for teaching your teenagers how to manage money.
Mm-hmm.
Some examples of this may include when they are saving for their first car after they have just been hired with their first job, how to save for college expenses, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Help your teenagers develop good financial habits, starting with the ability to save money.
Yeah.
Show your teenagers that saving should never be an afterthought, but rather a part of everyday financing. Some parents will even provide an incentive system to help teach their children the value of saving. And then finally, under this point, similar to allowing your toddler to see and handle real life money, give your teenagers some first-hand experience, right? For those that participate in investment plans, this is a great opportunity to explain and show how money can grow over time.
Well, yeah, and then as you're talking about teaching them to save, it's also good to teach them how to invest too.
Yeah.
So it could be in the smallest things, as we talked about earlier on. Just buy something that they can sell.
Yeah.
Something you show them how to make money. That's what investing is basically.
And that's such a good point, Sabi. Teaching your children how to make money. A lot of times children, young adults, they think the only how they can make money is by going out and work for somebody.
For money. Yeah.
Right? So you give your time and your boss give you money. So you must get a job with somebody. But that is not the only way
you can make money.
That you can make money.
Because you can give them a start and they can use that money to invest wisely and also make some money. So, guys, this is the money talk. We're talking about some financial tips for youths, And, youth goes a long way, The new age for youth ends at 40. So me and you still are,
we still there.
Back then they say 35, but, some person decided, now let's change our boy 35. People living longer, so they increase the age to 40.
To 40.
You know what I mean? So we have to serve the Lord as we're youth, and everything that we do, even the way that we handle the money, you have to give account for how you handle the resources. It's not yours.
God bless you.
God gave you those resources. So as parents, you have to be wise how you deal with it. Don't create no monster, bro.
Yeah,
don't create no monster.
True that.
Don't create no monster. That's a serious thing.
Right. So even as we are about to close, adult children who no longer require any monetary support from their parents are considered to be financially independent. You hear that, Sabi? Adult children who no longer require any monetary support from their parents are considered to be financially independent.
I laugh because some of them still asking for money.
That would take it over.
My broke. Dad, I left 15 on that.
Yeah,
what I mean? Yeah.
While it may be hard for parents to let go initially, seeing our children to be successful on their own is truly what every parent wants in the long run. Today, the most common financial issues that college students are facing are student loan debt, rising rent costs, and consumer debt. Hopefully, the lessons you have taught your children as they were growing, you have laid a firm foundation for financial success, even in light of these obstacles. However, it is truly never too late to start. While there are a variety of ways to help your child transition to financial independence, the primary principles of this shift are talking about it often, making a plan, and setting boundaries and maintaining them. These action steps can help parents as they encourage their children to overcome the most common barriers to financial independence. Overall, the value of teaching your children about money truly is priceless, and its benefits are endless. You do not need to be making perfect financial decisions in order to teach your children the basics. You only need to have a willingness.
Yeah. So it's very important. You have to be willing. And you have to become intentional in the way you function with the money and your children.
Yeah, you must.
Every day, what we don't know most times is that kids are they are learning as they look at us, and they are every step of their lives, from since they were toddlers up to a point in time. And the earlier you start, implementing and teaching them certain things, is better for you.
It's better.
Every family has the sets of financial rules and principles that they live by.
Yeah.
You may not know it, but there are things that will cause you to say, when it comes to dipping your hand in your pocket, yes, and things that you would say no. Understand? So as a parent, you practice contentment, and sometimes you know it or you don't know it. As a parent, you make decisions as to where you spend your money. As parents, sometimes you have consultative approach where mother and father speaks about it, or husband and wife talk about what they should do. A child might come to you and say, well, I want this or I want this, even as a young adult, and they may have reasons why they want certain things. Based on what it is, you could say, listen, I will need to speak to your father about it as a mother, or the father can say, let me talk to your mom about it, and we'll come back to you. So you understand that there's a process, and not just because they come and ask, you say yes, and you get it just like that. And if it demands that we have a conversation as the parents with you as a child, then we call you in the council of the godly. You understand? True. And we're going to have that conversation, and come to some form of conclusion. Also, sometimes there's an opportunity when children are asking for stuff that you can get to get certain principles into them. Yeah. So saying a big but no, before you say a big no, a certain attitude and have the child feeling sad, and before long, here's the bad thing that could happen, God. If you don't take the time to have the conversation, they would go to other means to find the money. And it's important as parents, especially with your boy child or your girl child, that you make sure when they need money, if you cannot afford to give them, you don't just tell them no and expect them to understand. There comes a time when the kids would not just accept a no, because sometimes they really have a need, and you need to explain to them why no.
Yeah, the conversation is important.
Yeah.
Even as we close, Sabi, two things I have found myself doing with my daughter. Now, every time we go out, she always wants stuff. And I kind of classify things that she can get now and things that are for a special occasion. Right? So it's like, okay, you want... Listen, she has been behind both myself and her mother for a Barbie camper van.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not something you just go out and buy.
And they're not very cheap, man.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, for your birthday, this is what you're going to be getting.
Right.
So this is a very special gift. This is a special occasion. So there are things that are special. You don't just, not just because you want it means you're going to get it. No. And then I normally give her an allowance or budget. So say, for example, we gone out Saturday and we Lyman. It's like you have $50 or you have $100. So you might want to buy book, you might want to buy a dolly, you want to buy pizza, ice cream, whatever.
Right.
This is your budget. So this is what you have.
Right.
And if you choose to spend it all in the bookstore, or you choose to spend it all in the toy store, that's where your money gone. But know that when you spend it, you won't be getting pizza.
Right.
You won't be getting ice cream. So you can
get opportunity to have that conversation again. Yeah.
So you could spread it out and get a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Or you could just put everything
in one thing.
Yeah. So that's two things I've found myself doing with my daughter.
So we have to find ways to teach them.
Yeah.
Ideally. And just keep in mind, as we wrap up right now, it's not don't wait until it's too late.
Yeah.
Because there comes a time when it could be too late. So
True.
the last tip I would want to leave with you guys, start from young. Don't wait until it's too late. When they're already touching that kind of age going on there, and They're so accustomed with mom, dad.
Yeah.
And some of them so bold face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't mean nothing. Mom know how you moved. So my mother grew me. Let's talk about when you're an only child. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
When you're an only child, sometimes as parents, you can really spoil that only child. Because you love that only child so much that everything that only child wants, they get.
And if you have the resources, what's yet?
That's the next part.
Yeah.
So you don't teach them how to work and own anything, you know. But at the end of the day, these are some elementary steps, and I still believe there are some deeper things that we can talk about. You understand? If we were to segregate it and talk about especially teenagers, and go deeper into the teenagers aspect of it. You understand? But remember, we're talking about youths, and youth starts from a very young age until, you know, they are a little older than I am. God, let me see if we have a comment coming in WhatsApp there. I saw someone send something. All right, real quick, say good night. Roseanne here. She said, well, I had my both parents, but one had to be dependent on, but I had to be dependent on one because my dad was there, but he never was so I cared as my mom. Okay, so I guess our mom cared for her. She had both her parents, but at the end of the day, it was just one taking care of her. So her mom never had no job security, but she washed for people and sold fruits, you know, in her teenage years to support me and my sibling. Everything she done, she included us as a way of knowing what she can afford for us. So she was saying basically that and I like that, and it's similar to what I was saying. Sometimes you have to include our kids in let them understand. You know, my mom used to bring me to the garden. I never liked it. When she sent me back home for some water, my goodness, all they do see how wicked, but I'm not coming back. She went for that water. I said, what is boy? But she come home, mom. You know, me and this garden thing, we really like that. You understand? You know, so she's saying, in other words, we grew up knowing what she can afford. The sugar was great, but I started making my own money at the age of 14, right? By selling little small stuff. I had a weekend job to go to support myself and schooling now. It had paid off. I'm fully employed. Nice. I taught my kids the same, and they never had to depend on anyone. You understand? So that's some important thing right there. And if you never had it, sometimes it's hard to pass it on. That's just what it is.
True.
And sometimes I think the most dangerous thing is that when you had it, but you say, I don't want my kids to have to go through what I go through. You
so
have to balance. You have to balance it. You have to balance it. And we know this new age children, so to call them, they're so different. So you have to find a way to balance the thing. There are times you have to hold your hand as much as you want to open it. You have to close it. You understand? So last final piece from a friend there, she says, so I can say it did pay it out for all of us, talking about her siblings and so on.
Right.
We are all employed and have decent job. My mom passed away last October 2021. I really wish I could have more for her. All right, so that she's saying that, you know, she just wanted to be grateful to her parents for for what she had. And sometimes you have single parents, it's even more hard. But some of them still go out of the way, really go out of the way trying to get stuff, every single thing that child wants. You know, man, listen, this money thing is no joke. No joke. All right, guys, so what we say, we're gonna wrap up this episode 27 right here.
27, we're gonna do that. Thank you to all the listeners that stayed tuned in. All those that sent in comments, greatly appreciated. WhatsApp, social media. All right. And Sabi, encourage them to stay locked on. They can do so on our website, hopefmgrenada.com, or via the radio frequency 103.1 FM.
Yeah, man.
So thank you very much, guys. It's been another episode of the Money Talk.
God bless you. Have a pleasant night.
Good night.
exaltation. We are Hope 103.1 FM.